Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the TDS Resilience, watching the massive alien ships move into position around Mars' colony. The Zephyrian Empire vessels were 3 times the size of any human ship, their dark metal hulls gleaming under the red planet's weak sunlight. 27 warships had arrived without warning, demanding to speak with Earth's leaders. Dr. Lisa Parker worked at her station nearby, her fingers flying over the keyboard as she translated the incoming alien messages. The Zephyrians spoke in harsh clicking sounds that her computer slowly converted into English. What she read made her stomach turn cold. "They want tribute," she said quietly to Morrison. 30% of all our industrial output, food, metals, manufactured goods, and, she paused, reading the next line, 10,000 humans for their labor camps. Morrison's jaw tightened, but his voice stayed calm. "What happens if we refuse?" Lisa's hands shook slightly as she read the response. "They will destroy 1 colony every day until we agree to their terms." Commander Ryan Bell, the ship's tactical officer, looked up from his console. "Admiral, I'm getting reports from all our colonies. The aliens have ships positioned over every human settlement. New Angeles, Europa Station, the mining facilities on Titan. They're everywhere." Morrison nodded slowly. He had expected this day might come. For 5 years, humanity had been expanding into space, building colonies and establishing trade routes. They had met 17 different alien civilizations, and every single one had been stronger, older, and more advanced than Earth. Most had ignored humans completely. The Zephyrians were the first to see them as useful. Captain Nicole Hayes appeared on the communication screen from the Mars defense grid. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a tight ponytail, and her blue eyes were hard with anger. "Admiral, my weapons are fully charged and ready. Just give the word and I'll show these aliens what human weapons can do." "Stand down, Captain," Morrison replied. "All stations are ordered to power down weapons and prepare for inspection." Nicole's face showed her shock. "Sir, with respect, we can fight them. Our weapons may be smaller, but we're faster and smarter. Captain Hayes, you have your orders." The communication ended, leaving the bridge in uncomfortable silence. Morrison knew what his crew was thinking. They wanted to fight. Every human wanted to fight. But fighting now would be suicide, and Morrison had other plans. Director Sam Collins appeared on another screen from Earth Intelligence Headquarters. The older man's gray beard was neatly trimmed, and his brown eyes were sharp with calculation. "Admiral, we're receiving similar demands from 12 other alien civilizations. It seems word has spread that humans can be pushed around." "Are we recording everything?" Morrison asked. "Every transmission, every threat, every act of aggression. The quantum recorders are documenting it all." Collins held up a small device that looked like a simple tablet. "This is what we're calling the ledger. Every crime they commit against us goes in here, with full evidence." Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster reported from New Geneva Colony. Her voice was steady despite the alien ships hanging in orbit above her settlement. "Admiral, the Zephyrians have landed inspection teams. They're going through our facilities, taking inventory of everything we produce. They're treating our people like slaves already." Her husband, Engineer Pete Foster, worked frantically in the background, hiding the more advanced pieces of human technology. The aliens couldn't be allowed to see Earth's real capabilities. Not yet. Morrison opened a channel to President Helen Murphy back on Earth. The president sat in her office in the White House, her silver hair reflecting the light from her desk lamp. Behind her, the American flag hung next to the newer flag of the Terran Defense Alliance. "Madam President, the Zephyrians are demanding tribute from all human colonies. They want 30% of everything we produce plus human workers for their empire." President Murphy's face was calm, but Morrison could see the steel in her eyes. "What are our options, Admiral? We can fight and lose everything in a week, or we can agree to their terms and buy ourselves time. How much time do we need?" Morrison glanced at Dr. Alex Chen, who appeared on a smaller screen from his laboratory on Earth. The physicist looked tired but excited. 2 years, maybe 3. The Quantum Fold project is making progress, but we need more time to build the infrastructure." President Murphy nodded slowly. "Then we give them what they want. For now." The next few hours were painful for every human in space. The Zephyrian inspection teams went through human colonies like they owned them, taking detailed inventories and marking buildings with their symbols. They spoke about humans as if they were livestock, useful but not worthy of respect. Communications Officer Rachel Stone intercepted alien transmissions throughout the day. The messages were casual, almost bored. The Zephyrians referred to humans as the quiet species and joked about how easy it had been to intimidate them. Captain Danny Wright, commanding the merchant ship New Horizon, sent a message from the edge of human space. "Admiral, I'm watching Zephyrian ships stop human traders and demand inspection fees. They're treating our trade routes like their property." Morrison saved every message, every report, every piece of evidence. The quantum recorders captured everything in perfect detail. The aliens thought they were conquering humans, but they were actually providing evidence for their own trial. Dr. Lisa Parker finished translating the final Zephyrian demands. "They want the tribute payments to begin immediately. The first shipment of goods and workers must be ready in 1 week. Then that's what we'll give them," Morrison said. "But we document everything. Every demand, every threat, every crime they commit against human civilians." Commander Ryan Bell looked confused. "Admiral, forgive me, but this feels like surrender." Morrison smiled for the first time that day. It wasn't a happy smile. "Commander, this isn't surrender. This is preparation. The Zephyrians think they're strong because they have bigger ships and more weapons. They think humans are weak because we're not fighting back." He gestured to the alien ships on the screen. "They're wrong on both counts. We're not weak. We're patient. And when our patience runs out, they're going to learn the difference." Director Sam Collins nodded from his screen. "The ledger is already growing. Every alien civilization that thinks they can abuse humans is adding to their own judgment. They're writing their own sentences." President Murphy's final transmission was brief. "All human colonies will comply with alien demands. All personnel will cooperate with inspections, and all stations will continue recording everything." As the alien ships settled into orbit around human colonies, beginning their systematic exploitation of human resources, none of them noticed the small invisible devices hidden throughout human space. The quantum recorders captured everything, storing it in hidden databases across dozens of star systems. The aliens thought they had conquered humanity without firing a shot. They had no idea that humanity had just begun gathering evidence for the largest war crimes trial in galactic history. 2 years had passed since the Zephyrian Empire first demanded tribute from humanity. Captain Danny Wright stood in chains aboard a Korthak Confederacy vessel, watching alien guards drag his crew members to different parts of the ship. His merchant vessel, New Horizon, had been stopped at the edge of neutral space and boarded without warning. The Korthak captain, a tall creature with gray skin and 4 arms, looked down at Danny with cold black eyes. "Your species makes excellent workers. Strong backs, clever hands, and best of all, you don't fight back." Danny said nothing, but his ship's hidden recorder captured every word. Even in chains, even facing slavery, his job was to document everything. The small device sewn into his jacket collar would transmit all evidence back to Earth intelligence when the Korthak ship passed near a communication relay. General Kate Sullivan received Danny's final transmission in her office at Terran, Strategic Command. The message was short and desperate. New Horizon boarded and captured. 27 crew members taken prisoner. Korthak Confederacy claiming human workers as payment for safe passage through their territory. Kate saved the message to the ledger and opened a new file. The Zephyrians had been bad enough, but now other alien civilizations were joining what they called the human tax. The systematic exploitation was spreading across the galaxy. Dr. Alex Chen worked 18 hours a day in his laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains. His quantum fold project was making incredible progress, but every breakthrough only showed him how much more work remained. The technology could revolutionize space travel, allowing ships to appear anywhere in the galaxy instantly, but building the infrastructure to support galaxy-wide operations would take time. Humanity might not have. Communications. Officer Rachel Stone burst into the command center with a stack of intercepted alien transmissions. "General, you need to see these. The Draknari Collective is planning something big." Kate read through the translations with growing horror. The Draknari, a species of insectoid aliens, had decided to use human colonies as testing grounds for their biological weapons. They called it practical research, and claimed that human biology was similar, enough to their enemies to provide useful data. They're planning to release experimental viruses on 3 different human settlements, Rachel continued. They want to see how quickly different diseases spread through human populations. Meanwhile, Commander Bill Torres led a small rescue mission to the Korthak mining facility, where Danny Wright and his crew were being held. The facility was built inside an asteroid, with minimal security because the Korthak never expected humans to launch rescue operations. Bill's team moved through the facility's maintenance tunnels, their advanced suits allowing them to remain invisible to alien sensors. They found over 300 human prisoners working in the mines, all of them captured from merchant ships or taken from colonies that couldn't meet tribute demands. The conditions were horrific. Humans worked 16-hour shifts with minimal food and water. Those who collapsed from exhaustion were left to die. The Korthak guards treated human prisoners like disposable tools. "Take pictures of everything," Bill whispered to his team. "Document every crime, every act of cruelty. Earth needs evidence." They rescued Danny Wright and 46 other prisoners, but were forced to leave hundreds more behind. The mission was supposed to be invisible. If the Korthak discovered that humans could mount rescue operations, they would increase security and make future missions impossible. Back on Earth, President Helen Murphy faced growing pressure from colonial governors. Wayne Johnson from New Angeles Colony and Maria Santos from the Europa Station both demanded permission to fight back against alien exploitation. "Madam President, they're using our people as slave labor," Wayne argued during a tense video conference. "The Zephyrians are taking 30% of everything we produce. The Korthak are kidnapping our traders. The Draknari want to use our colonies as testing grounds for biological weapons. How much more can we endure?" Maria Santos nodded angrily. "My people are ready to fight. We have weapons, we have trained soldiers. Let us defend ourselves." President Murphy understood their frustration, but she also understood the bigger picture. "Governors, I know this is difficult, but we're not ready yet. Dr. Chen's project needs more time." She switched to a private channel with Admiral Jake Morrison. "Admiral, how much longer do we need?" Morrison consulted with Dr. Chen before responding. "The quantum fold network is 60% complete. We need 18 more months to finish the infrastructure. But Madam President, the aliens are getting bolder. Intelligence reports suggest that 5 more civilizations are planning to impose tribute demands on human colonies." The breaking point came when Ambassador Tony Rivera attempted to address the Galactic Council. The massive space station orbited the galaxy's center, serving as a meeting place for all major civilizations. Tony had spent months requesting permission to speak, hoping to negotiate better treatment for humanity. The council chamber was enormous, with representatives from over 50 alien species, seated in a complex arrangement that reflected their relative power and influence. The Zephyrian delegate sat in the highest position, looking down on all other representatives. Tony stood at the speaker's podium, his formal diplomatic uniform pressed and perfect. He began with traditional greetings and expressions of respect, following protocols that had taken months to learn. "Honored representatives, I come before this council to discuss the treatment of human colonies and citizens throughout the galaxy." The Zephyrian delegate interrupted him with a harsh laugh. "The pet species wishes to speak?" "How amusing!" Other delegates joined in the laughter. The Korthak representative made a comment about humans being useful but unremarkable. The Draknari delegate suggested that humans might serve better as test subjects than as independent colonists. Tony continued speaking, but few aliens paid attention. They talked among themselves, made jokes, and generally treated his presence as entertainment rather than diplomacy. When he finished his prepared speech requesting fair treatment and protection under galactic law, the chamber fell silent. The Zephyrian delegate stood slowly. "Human, your species has been useful to us. You provide resources and labor without causing trouble. This is your proper role in the galaxy. Accept it and you will continue to exist. Resist it and you will be eliminated." The other delegates nodded in agreement. The Veltar Empire representative added, "Perhaps humans would benefit from formal client species status. We could provide protection in exchange for complete submission to galactic authority." Tony left the council chamber with recordings of every insult, every threat, every casual dismissal of human dignity. The aliens thought they had put humanity in its place. They had no idea they had just provided evidence for their own destruction. Director Sam Collins reviewed Tony's recordings with grim satisfaction. The ledger now contained over 6,000 pages of documented crimes against humanity. War crimes, slavery, biological weapons testing, and systematic exploitation. Every alien civilization that had chosen to abuse humans had provided detailed evidence of their guilt. Dr. Lisa Parker made her own breakthrough during this time, developing counteragents for the biological weapons the Dreknari were testing on human colonies. Her work was classified at the highest levels, but it would prove crucial when humanity finally revealed its true capabilities. The galaxy's strongest civilizations continued to underestimate humanity, mistaking patience for weakness and preparation for submission. They had no idea that every day of abuse was bringing them closer to a reckoning that would change the balance of power forever. The attack on New Geneva colony came without warning. Admiral Jake Morrison arrived at the devastated human settlement 3 hours after the Zephyrian Empire's demonstration was complete. His ship, the TDS Resilience, moved slowly through the debris field that had once been a thriving colony of 200,000 people. Colonel Frank Davis led the disaster response teams down to the planet's surface. The colony's main city was gone, replaced by a smoking crater 5 miles wide. The agricultural districts had been burned to ash. The industrial facilities were twisted metal and shattered concrete. Casualty report, Morrison requested over the communication system. Frank's voice was tight with controlled anger. 50,000 confirmed dead, Admiral. Most died in the initial bombardment. The survivors. He paused, looking at his scanner readings. The survivors were executed by Zephyrian ground troops. They wanted to make sure no one could say this was an accident. Dr. Lisa Parker examined the evidence of banned weapons used against the civilian population. Her portable laboratory detected traces of quantum disruptors, biological agents, and thermal weapons designed specifically to cause maximum suffering. The Zephyrians hadn't just destroyed the colony. They had turned it into a demonstration of what happened to humans who didn't submit completely. The attack had been triggered by New Geneva's governor, Robert Kim, who had refused to send an additional shipment of human workers to Zephyrian labor camps. His message to the aliens had been polite but firm. The colony had already sent 30% of its adult population and couldn't spare any more workers without facing economic collapse. The Zephyrian response had been swift and brutal. 27 warships had emerged from hyperspace and begun orbital bombardment without any warning or final ultimatum. They had recorded the entire attack and broadcast it to every human colony in the galaxy. Morrison received the Zephyrian commander's message as he surveyed the ruins. The alien's voice was cold and mechanical through the translation software. This colony defied the tribute requirements established by the Galactic Order. Its destruction serves as instruction for other human settlements. Compliance is not optional. Back on Earth, Director Sam Collins sat in his office staring at the final entry he was adding to the ledger. 50,000 human civilians murdered to make a political point. The evidence was overwhelming. Video recordings of the bombardment, biological samples from the weapon testing, testimony from the few survivors who had been found in underground shelters. President Helen Murphy called an emergency meeting of the Terran Defense Council. The large conference room beneath the White House was filled with military leaders, scientists, and intelligence officials. Everyone knew that humanity had reached a turning point. 5 years, the president said quietly. 5 years of systematic abuse, exploitation, and now mass murder. The question before us is simple. Do we continue to endure or do we fight back? Dr. Alex Chen stood at the head of the table, his usually calm demeanor replaced by barely controlled fury. Madam President, the Quantum Fold network is 95% complete. We have the capability to coordinate simultaneous operations across 300 star systems. Our weapons testing has exceeded all projections. General Kate Sullivan added her report. Our intelligence gathering is complete. We know the location of every alien military installation, every government facility, every leader who participated in the abuse of human civilians. Operation Payback is ready to launch. Morrison appeared on the main screen from the ruins of New Geneva. Madam President, request permission to activate all classified human military assets. The aliens have made it clear that they consider us expendable. I think it's time we showed them how wrong they are. President Murphy looked around the room at faces filled with controlled anger and determination. These people had spent 5 years watching their species be abused and humiliated by aliens who considered humans inferior. They had documented every crime, planned every response, and built weapons that the galaxy had never imagined. Dr. Chen, What is our actual military capability compared to the major alien civilizations? Alex smiled grimly. Madam President, with the quantum fold technology and our new weapon systems, we can position superior firepower anywhere in the galaxy within minutes. The aliens spent 5 years assuming we were weak because our ships were smaller. They never considered that we might be building something completely different. Captain Nicole Hayes reported from the Mars Defense Grid. Madam President, all hidden human military installations are ready for activation. The aliens have been watching our older, smaller ships while we built a completely new fleet in hidden shipyards. Commander Ryan Bell added, our psychological profiles of alien leadership are complete. We know exactly how they'll react when we demonstrate our real capabilities. Most will surrender immediately. The others will be eliminated before they can respond. The President made her decision. Director Collins, transmit the ledger to every human colony and ship in the galaxy. Let our people know exactly what crimes have been committed against us. Dr. Chen, activate the Quantum Fold Network. General Sullivan, you have authorization for Operation Payback. Collins activated the transmission system that sent the ledger to every human in space. The document was now over 10,000 pages long, containing detailed evidence of every crime committed by alien civilizations against humanity. Mass murder, slavery, biological weapons testing, systematic exploitation, and casual genocide. The response from human colonies was immediate and angry. Governors like Wayne Johnson and Maria Santos had been waiting 5 years for permission to fight back. Captain Danny Wright, recently rescued from Korthak slavery, volunteered to lead the first strike against his former captors. Dr. Chen activated Project Lighthouse, the quantum communication network that would coordinate humanity's response. The activation signal reached every human ship, station, and hidden facility simultaneously, traveling faster than light through quantum entanglement. Captain Nicole Hayes received the activation codes for Earth's real military assets. The Mars Defense Grid was revealed to be just the visible part of a massive weapons network that extended throughout the solar system. Hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt released fleets of advanced human warships that had been built in complete secrecy. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster received orders to activate the human infiltrators, who had been placed in alien facilities over the past 5 years. These operatives had been posing as maintenance workers, translators, and technical specialists, while actually mapping alien defenses and preparing for sabotage operations. The galaxy's strongest civilizations had spent 5 years congratulating themselves on successfully intimidating humanity. They had no idea that every day of abuse had been carefully documented and analyzed. They thought human patience was weakness, but it had actually been preparation. Morrison sent a final message to President Murphy before beginning humanity's response. Madam President, the aliens wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy. I think it's time we taught them theirs. The Zephyrian Empire, the Korthak Confederacy, the Draknari Collective, and 12 other alien civilizations were about to learn that they had spent 5 years creating evidence for their own destruction. Humanity's silent warning was about to become a very loud response. The first sign that something had changed came when the Zephyrian patrol fleet disappeared near the Centauri trade route. Admiral Zektar, commanding the Empire's 3rd Battle Group, was investigating the missing ships when his own fleet came under attack from what appeared to be a small group of human merchant vessels. Captain Danny Wright stood on the bridge of the rebuilt New Horizon, no longer the helpless trader who had been captured by alien slavers. His ship looked exactly like a standard human cargo hauler, but appearances were deceiving. Hidden beneath the ordinary hull were weapons that represented 5 years of secret human research and development. Target the lead Zephyrian cruiser, Danny ordered. Fire quantum disruption torpedoes. The weapons that emerged from the New Horizon didn't look impressive compared to alien plasma cannons and particle beams. But when they struck the Zephyrian ships, the results were devastating. The alien vessels simply ceased to exist. Their molecular bonds dissolved at the subatomic level. Admiral Zektar had barely enough time to send a panicked transmission before his flagship was destroyed. All forces' human ships are using unknown weapons. Our shields are useless. The vessels are just disappearing. The transmission reached Zephyrian High Command just as similar reports arrived from 17 other locations. Human merchant ships were systematically destroying alien patrols throughout Zephyrian space, using technology that made the Empire's Most advanced weapons look primitive. Admiral Jake Morrison revealed the true capabilities of the TDS Resilience when he encountered a Korthak battle group near the edge of human space. The Korthak commander, Admiral Vorth, had brought 12 heavy cruisers to investigate reports of human military activity. Human vessel. You will surrender immediately for inspection, Admiral Vorth transmitted. Your species has been granted the privilege of existence under Korthak protection. Do not abuse this privilege. Morrison's response was calm and professional. Korthak fleet, you are ordered to withdraw from human space immediately. This is your only warning. Vorth's laughter echoed across the communication channel. 1 human ship against 12 Korthak cruisers? Your species truly is as foolish as we believed. Morrison nodded to his weapons officer. Fire. The Resilience unleashed its hidden arsenal. Quantum disruption torpedoes dissolved 4 Korthak ships instantly. Energy beams that operated outside known physics cut through alien armor like tissue paper. The Korthak battle group was eliminated in less than 3 minutes. General Kate Sullivan launched Operation Payback from her command center beneath the Rocky Mountains. Hundreds of human strike teams equipped with weapons and technology that had been hidden for 5 years began simultaneous attacks on alien facilities across the galaxy. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster led the assault on the Korthak mining facility where humans had been enslaved. Her soldiers wore powered armor that made them invisible to alien sensors and strong enough to tear through steel with their bare hands. Remember, we document everything, Amy told her troops as they moved through the facility. Every alien we encounter, every piece of evidence, every crime we witness. The galaxy needs to see what these creatures did to our people. The Korthak guards had never faced human soldiers who were properly equipped and trained. The aliens had grown used to dealing with helpless human prisoners. They weren't prepared for warriors who could move faster than alien. Eyes could track and who carried weapons that could penetrate any known armor. Dr. Lisa Parker's counter-biological agents proved devastatingly effective against the Draknari Collective's bioweapons facilities. The insectoid aliens had spent years testing diseases on human colonies, never considering that humans might develop targeted responses. The viruses that Lisa had engineered were works of art, designed to target only Draknari biology, while leaving other species completely unharmed. The aliens who had used humans as test subjects found themselves becoming unwilling subjects in humanity's own biological research. Commander Ryan Bell coordinated the liberation of human prisoners from alien facilities throughout the galaxy. The rescue operations were flawless, utilizing teleportation technology that allowed human forces to appear anywhere without warning. Quantum fold drives operational, Bell reported to Morrison. All rescue teams are in position. We can extract every human prisoner simultaneously. The technology was based on Dr. Alex Chen's breakthrough research, refined over 5 years of secret development. Human forces could now appear inside enemy facilities, rescue prisoners, and disappear before alien defenses could respond. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session as reports of human military action reached alien governments throughout the galaxy. Ambassador Tony Rivera, who had been mocked and dismissed during his previous appearance, now addressed a room full of terrified alien diplomats. The council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from dozens of species were shouting demands, accusations, and pleas for protection. The Zephyrian delegate, who had once treated Tony like an amusing pet, now stared at him with obvious fear. Tony's message was simple and direct. The human species demands the immediate cessation of all hostile activities against our colonies and citizens. We also demand full restitution for damages caused to human settlements and compensation for all human lives lost. The Veltar Empire representative stood angrily. You cannot make demands of this council. Humans are a client species under galactic protection. You have no right to military action. Tony smiled calmly. Ambassador, I think you misunderstand the situation. Humans are no longer requesting protection or asking for fair treatment. We are informing you of the consequences of your actions over the past 5 years. He activated a holographic display that showed real-time footage of human military operations throughout the galaxy, alien fleets being destroyed, military installations being captured, and human prisoners being rescued from facilities that the aliens had considered completely secure. Every crime committed against human civilians has been documented and cataloged, Tony continued. Every act of aggression, every instance of slavery, every biological weapons test. We have 5 years of evidence, and we have the capability to deliver justice anywhere in the galaxy. The Zephyrian delegate's voice cracked with fear. This is impossible. Human technology is primitive. Your ships are small and weak. Tony gestured to another display showing the quantum disruption of a Zephyrian battle fleet. Your species spent 5 years assuming that what you could see was all that existed. You were wrong. Commander Bill Torres, now overseeing rescue operations across multiple star systems, received a priority transmission from Captain Nicole Hayes at the Mars Defense Grid. Bill, we're detecting massive alien fleet movements. Looks like they're trying to coordinate a response. Bill consulted his tactical displays and smiled grimly. Let them come. Every alien ship that moves against human space is just providing us with more targets. The Mars Defense Grid revealed its true nature as human ships emerged from hidden bases throughout the solar system. What the aliens had seen as Earth's primary defense was actually just the command center for a military network that spanned hundreds of light years. Dr. Alex Chen monitored the quantum fold network from his laboratory, watching as human forces appeared and disappeared across the galaxy like ghosts. 5 years of patient preparation were paying off as humanity demonstrated capabilities that alien civilizations had never imagined possible. The galaxy's strongest civilizations were learning that human patience had never been weakness. It had been the most dangerous kind of strength. The willingness to endure abuse while secretly preparing for the moment when endurance was no longer necessary. The reckoning had begun, and the aliens who had spent 5 years exploiting humanity were about to discover what happened when they pushed the wrong species too far. The war lasted exactly 72 hours. By the end of the 3rd day, every major alien military installation in the galaxy had been neutralized, destroyed, or captured by human forces using technology that seemed to violate the known laws of physics. Director Sam Collins stood in the main communication center at Earth Intelligence, watching as the ledger was broadcast simultaneously to every inhabited planet in the galaxy. 10,000 pages of documented war crimes, complete with video evidence, biological samples, and testimony from thousands of human survivors. The broadcast reached over 300 billion sentient beings across 57 different star systems. For the first time, the galaxy's population learned the full extent of what their governments had done to humanity over the past 5 years. Admiral Jake Morrison commanded the operation from the bridge of Earth's new flagship, the TDS Retribution. The massive vessel had been built in complete secrecy in hidden shipyards beyond Pluto's orbit. It was 10 times larger than any known human ship and carried weapons that could destroy entire fleets. Admiral, the Zephyrian homeworld defense grid has been neutralized, reported Captain Nicole Hayes from her position at the tactical station. Human infiltrators disabled their orbital platforms 3 hours ago, just as Ambassador Rivera predicted they would. Morrison nodded with satisfaction. The psychological profiles that human intelligence had developed over 5 years had been remarkably accurate. When faced with overwhelming force, most alien civilizations responded exactly as predicted. President Helen Murphy addressed the Galactic Council from the Retribution's main conference room. The alien delegates who had once mocked human weakness now sat in stunned silence as she explained humanity's position. Members of the Galactic Council, for 5 years your civilizations have systematically abused, enslaved, and murdered human civilians. You treated our patience as weakness and our cooperation as submission. You were wrong on both counts. The holographic displays around the conference room showed real-time images of human forces occupying alien government buildings, military bases, and industrial facilities throughout the galaxy. The operations had been coordinated with precision that the aliens had never believed humans capable of achieving. The human species was never weak, President Murphy continued. We were preparing. Every ship you destroyed was analyzed to improve our defenses. Every colony you threatened provided data for our tactical planning. Every life you took was recorded as evidence for this moment. The Zephyrian delegate, who had once referred to humans as the pet species, now trembled as he spoke. President Murphy, the Zephyrian Empire formally requests negotiations for a peace treaty. We acknowledge that our previous policies toward humanity were inappropriate. President Murphy's smile was cold. Ambassador, you seem to misunderstand the situation. This is not a negotiation. This is a sentencing hearing. Dr. Alex Chen's quantum fold technology had revolutionized warfare in ways the aliens couldn't comprehend. Human fleets could appear anywhere in the galaxy within minutes, striking targets that were supposed to be beyond human reach. Commander Ryan Bell coordinated the occupation of the Korthak Confederacy's capital world from his station aboard the Retribution. Admiral, the Korthak leadership is requesting permission to surrender. They're offering full restitution for human slaves and compensation for damaged colonies. Morrison consulted his tactical displays before responding. Tell them they can surrender after they've freed every human prisoner and returned all stolen property. Until then, we continue military operations. The Korthak had enslaved over 50,000 humans across their territory. Those prisoners were now being liberated by human special forces, who appeared without warning in the most secure facilities. The quantum fold drives made traditional defensive strategies completely useless. Lieutenant Colonel Amy Foster led the liberation of the largest slave camp in Korthak space. The facility held 12,000 human prisoners who had been working in mining operations under horrific conditions. Amy, this is incredible, reported engineer Pete Foster as he surveyed the rescued humans. Some of these people have been missing for 3 years. The aliens kept detailed records of every human they captured. Amy nodded grimly. Add it all to the evidence files. The galaxy needs to see what these creatures did to our people. Dr. Lisa Parker's Biological Warfare Division had successfully neutralized the Draknari Collective's weapons research programs. The insectoid aliens who had used human colonies as testing grounds for experimental viruses now faced the same diseases they had inflicted on others. The counter-viruses are working perfectly, Lisa reported to Morrison. The Draknari military leadership is completely incapacitated. Their bioweapons facilities have been quarantined and secured by our forces. General Kate Sullivan oversaw the installation of human monitoring stations in every major alien star system. The message was clear. Earth was now watching, and Earth would remember everything. We're establishing permanent observation posts in all former hostile territories, Kate reported. Any alien civilization that attempts to rebuild military capabilities will be detected and neutralized immediately. Captain Danny Wright, now commanding a squadron of advanced human warships, received the surrender of the alien commander who had once enslaved him. Admiral Vorth of the Korthak Confederacy stood in chains aboard his own flagship, surrounded by human marines. You were supposed to be weak, Vorth whispered. Your ships were small. Your weapons were primitive, Danny smiled. That's what we wanted you to think. While you were busy feeling superior to us, we were building the tools to destroy you. The psychological impact of humanity's demonstration was devastating for alien civilizations throughout the galaxy. Species that had considered themselves the strongest forces in known space discovered that they had been completely outclassed by the primitive humans they had been exploiting. Ambassador Tony Rivera delivered humanity's final terms to the Galactic Council. The document was simple and non-negotiable. Complete withdrawal from all human territory, full restitution for all damages, and submission to human oversight of any future military activities. These terms are unacceptable, protested the Veltar Empire representative. You cannot expect established galactic powers to submit to human authority. Tony gestured to the tactical display showing human fleets positioned over every major alien homeworld. Ambassador, I think you misunderstand your situation. These are not terms for negotiation. These are the conditions for your continued existence. Commander Bill Torres, now serving as military governor of occupied alien territories, reflected on how completely the balance of power had shifted. The species that had once treated humans as expendable resources now begged for mercy from human authorities. It's remarkable, he reported to Morrison. 5 years ago, these aliens thought they could abuse us without consequences. Now they're discovering that consequences were just delayed, not avoided. The final moment of humanity's transformation came when Dr. Alex Chen revealed the true scope of the quantum fold network. The technology didn't just allow human ships to appear anywhere in the galaxy. It created a permanent infrastructure that made human military superiority unshakable. Every star system in the galaxy is now within immediate striking distance of human forces, Chen explained to the assembled alien delegates. Any hostile action against human interests can be met with overwhelming retaliation within minutes. President Murphy concluded her address to the Galactic Council with words that would be remembered throughout the galaxy for generations. You spent 5 years teaching humanity our place in your galactic order. You were successful. Our place is at the top. The aliens who had once mocked human patience as weakness now understood that they had mistaken preparation for submission. Humanity had used their 5 years of abuse to build the tools for galactic domination, documenting every crime while secretly developing the means to punish them all. The galaxy's balance of power had permanently shifted. The strongest civilizations now served as client states under human oversight, their military capabilities limited by human observers, their governments supervised by human administrators. Earth's silent warning had been delivered with devastating effectiveness. The galaxy would never again make the mistake of confusing human patience with human weakness. The species that had once been dismissed as quiet and unremarkable now stood as the undisputed masters of known space, ruling not through conquest but through the careful application of justice to those who had thought themselves beyond accountability. The humans had learned an important lesson about galactic politics. Sometimes the best way to ensure peace was to be so overwhelmingly strong that war became unthinkable for potential enemies. The galaxy's former oppressors now lived under the protection of the species they had once tried to enslave, kept safe by the same patience and restraint they had once mistaken for weakness.